Ah, okay, there I am. Quick it is. Hello, everybody. Hello there, Caden, and hello there, Daku. Lovely to see you. Lovely. Having a good Sunday so far? Mine's been fairly uneventful, just having a day. I ran out of hay fever meds, and I thought I'd be fine because it's like, you know, the end of September. Okay, no problem at all, Darky, no problem at all. Good to hear, good to hear. Yeah, if I end up sneezing a lot, it's because my body's going, oh, you don't have a bloodstream full of antihistamines anymore. And it's just, and, yeah. But really, it should be fine this time of year. Seasons don't make sense anymore. They've just stopped working at all. But otherwise, been alright. Been pretty good. As I said, there's been a lot of they revealed a lot of the new set over the, over this week, so will be a lot to go over before we start like Shadowverse gaming. But we want to like go over all the cards, go over the all the new stuff they're showing off. But I mean, good to hear that that your other Sundays have been good. It's always a bit weirdly quiet on a always really quiet on a Sunday. It's just general outside. It's usually like loads of people. My god, paying attention to other people, not me. How dare you? It's okay. And still, I've been doing some fiddling with V2 to try and get my, as you can see, get my expressions kind of like a bit more expressive, because I kind of like limited it before to try and like stop me from looking sad all the time. But it means I don't get to do saddies or proper angry face. When I'm getting stuck in fucking Doom again, because the fucking level design sometimes is not great. But yeah. I've got so just killing a bit of time whilst giving people time to come in, so just a bit more chatting as I've been playing a lot of Splatoon and Gundam Evolution, so two very different kinds of shooting games, I guess, but lots of shooting nonetheless. Splatoon 3 has been like a bit hard to get into matches because the Nintendo Internet ain't great, and the Splatfest is very busy. But that's the one thing I really like about the Splatoon games is the Splatfests, and just they have such a great vibe to them. Like, it's especially in Splatoon 3 because they've got this kind of like slightly the hub area is kind of larger, so you do have this kind of like city festival vibe going on, and it's just really nice because I've been in a few like on holiday and even at home, just a few like festival nights, and it is got that kind of similar vibe where you've got all the street stands and all the you hear the music down in the background, and it's just a nice like party vibe, and I don't think any other games really kind of like done that. Something in my kitchen just fell over, but nothing important, so it's all good. Nothing's broken at the moment. Yeah. But yeah, really you don't really get it. No other like event-based thing in a game I don't think has ever come close to the Splatoon Splatfests, to be honest. They all kind of like feel a bit hollow, like any kind of seasonal, like seasonal events and MMOs and whatnot, other online games like Final Fantasy and WoW and Destiny. But they never really feel like, it's been a long time since they've ever really like felt like a party or a festival, and Splatoon's just kind of unmatched in that regard, and it's really neat and really nice to see. It's only if you could actually play the damn game and not get into annoyingly one-sided matches all the time. But here's how we will time. Give it a few more minutes. Waiting for people to roll on in. I do some minor mapping with BTS whilst I'm waiting. Okay, that's a bit better. But yeah, other than that, playing Gundam Evolution again, fairly enjoying it a fair bit. Just I don't really know Gundam. Zen's been really into Omega Striker, and so I'd imagine they've gotten quite good at this point. I haven't really had the time for it. I guess I have kind of fallen off it a bit. I'm just like, it's nice, but nothing I'm gonna probably stick with. But like, if people want to play it, I'll play it with them, but nothing I'm gonna go out of my way to play. It's just nice, but not something I want to like really get into. Oh, I've got enough games like that at the moment with other games to play. But yeah, it's really lots of good stuff coming out. Like, I've seen people playing like Metal Hellsing, and that's looking really good. But as I said, I need money, and all the lovely subscriptions and everything is great, but I have to get like enough money for Twitch to actually give it to me. So hopefully they'll be reducing the minimum payout levels soon. I did take a quick look at just like what it takes to get monetized on YouTube as well, just like, this could be some extra money, but you need like 1,000 subscribers to get monetized on YouTube, like, and you have to approve it. It's not like anywhere near as automatic as getting affiliate on Twitch. It's very much a longer process, and a much higher barrier to entry, so you can imagine why all people start with Twitch, really. But yeah, I'm probably going to be uploading VODs to YouTube. This wasn't even something like brought on by the whole pay split drama that's being like big in the news. Like, Twitch's pay split's always been awful. And now it's just now people going, oh, they're going to ensure it stays awful for everyone forever. So a lot of people are upset, but there's a lot of people with like the bigger followers who it actually affects, where I can't get monetized, and I'm too small to get monetized on YouTube in the first place, so we'll have to wait and see. Maybe one day. But for now, I'll just post my VODs there, because I was planning on having VODs archived there as well anyway, just as a backup more than anything. But yeah, okay, it's 10 past, so I think it's time to head to start looking at some cards. As I've got, should work and should not reveal any kind of like sensitive information. Let me just do some window moving. Over there, and you over there. And then when I switch to the next screen, everything should be fine. Hey, all good, and Well, there might be motorcycles. I don't think they haven't revealed any motorcycles yet. I don't think we're going back to Storms of Ryle anyway. It was there. So yeah, there's the new set is very Digimon, very. I guess it's still very Yu-Gi-Oh! As well as much like the first Shadowverse anime set and all its stuff. It's like it does feel a bit derivative, but we're not here to talk about like the themes of the anime and whatnot. We had to look at the cards, beautiful cards, and might as well just. I'm mainly looking at the ones that are up on the site at the moment because they have revealed a few others today that obviously aren't on the site yet. But that's a lot more hassle to like actually get a look at. But I'll kind of like I'll maybe describe them later. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff in the set, and they've revealed like all of the like they revealed the rest of the Runecraft cards today. So we've got all the I guess we're missing the Havencraft. Yeah, that's like the protagonist card. But first, we're looking at Forestcraft cards. And Forestcraft gets. So the theme. So we're just going with the order that are shown on the site. So we're starting with the legendary stuff. They get this. Hopefully the quality's going through all right. Yeah, so this is a kind of interesting card they're starting with for Forest. It's the kind of theme of the anime cards for Forest, where they've got this theme of counting the number of cards that have been returned to your hand, or to any player's hand really, but specifically there's some other cards that want you to have returned a certain amount of cards to your hand, and then they get bonus effects. Now this is this is obviously supposed to be the big kind of finisher of it. This is Cosmos Fang. And so so it's obviously a bit of a setup card, because you want to play her with fanfare. She gets ambush, and then at the end of the turn, she bounces everything else on your side of the board and heals you. And obviously, if you can try and set that up with some other stuff, you can probably get that quite a decent amount of HP. The big deal, obviously, is that because she bounces everything on your side of the board apart from herself, you are going to be completely defenseless with her up. And if your opponent has, like, destroy a random follower, they'll be able to get rid of her quite easy. So I'm not entirely sure about that. She doesn't have Storm, she just has Ambush. So you need to be able to set her up and have her live a turn. Is the awkward part there. People outside my door and I'm a bit self-conscious. Because one of the big spicy things is returning everything apart from herself to the board on the board either. So like you can play her, keep her, evolve her and keep her ambush because she'll bounce your opponent's board as well, and then they'll be like, oh no, I've probably good at this. So that's pretty good against that works pretty well against a fair few things, a lot like Musketeer's Vow, because playing those cards individually is really clunky. I think they're 5 play points each. So that's really good value if you can hit like your opponent's Musketeer's Vow board. And you don't have to worry about like bouncing. If you're playing against Swordcraft, you don't have to worry about bouncing in like forgotten the name, Core Master, who's invoked because she's rotating out, so you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, then she gets +X +0 when she E-strikes, because again, the amount of followers returned to the battlefield this turn, so you'd want to play her, then have her survive a turn. Like, the best case scenario is you play her, have her survive a turn, and then you dump a load of stuff out of your hand, evo her to bounce the board, and then hit your opponent for massive damage. But obviously that's a bit of an optimistic route. You're most likely going to be just using her as a very good board clear and occasionally hitting face with it. Probably your... But you never know. I'm always surprised by what people cook up with some of these cards. Definitely an interesting card. And said might just be played for the board clear of bouncing everything back to your opponent's hand, because that can be quite spicy. And it's specifically only followers. It doesn't hit she doesn't hit amulets. Which is good and bad sometimes. Okay, the Forestcraft legendary is an interesting one. Maybe not great. There's Nobilis Sable Lily Queen. She's fairly simple. She's just put 2 fairies into your hand, and then any fairies in play or in your hand, she gives +1/+0 and last words. So kind of similar to Aria Miasma Fairy, but not as a leader effect, and also doesn't give them rush, which is a bit odd. It is deal 2 damage, so you can accumulate quite a lot of damage there. But it is interesting. Obviously intended to pair with other like fairy heavy cards like Shining Valkyrie from the last set. So maybe might get, or maybe even Brilliant Fairy. Just to give you bigger fairies that do more damage. But she does come with a bit of a cost of being a bit weak friendly. It's a 4 play point for 2/2, and you only get 2 play points back when you evo. So obviously that does work kind of well with Carbuncle, with the cost reduction. Okay. But we'll see. I'm not entirely sure about Nobilis, but who knows? Maybe Fairy Forest will come back with this. It depends entirely on the bronzes, I guess, and what people can cook up with. Now on to the golds. This is the, like, there's the anime cards, there's always like the big legendary, like, main one, and then they've all got this little mascot equivalent as well. And got Slade Blossoming Wolf, who again is another card that cares about returning stuff to your hand. As I said, lots of the fanfare gives it a lot of potential, I think, because that's again works really well with Carbuncle's effect of cost reduction, because then it becomes like an act. Because on its own, it's just like, oh, it just makes up for it. Cancels out its cost, but when you've got this reduced when you've got the actual cost of Slade itself reduced, and the cost of the thing you're hitting with it reduced, that's actually makes things quite scary. Of course, you're not hitting Carbuncle in turn 7, so it's not as scary as some other cost reduction effects you can hit. Like, you're not playing any cards particularly faster, you're just playing them alongside this. But it does help. It might be quite powerful in like some powerful combo turns. And yeah, the Evo doesn't gain any stats on Evo, but does change an enemy follower's attack to 1, which can be useful. There's a lot of useful against like lots of high attack followers, and just maybe if you want to trade into things without stuff dying. Or just neuter something that's otherwise quite dangerous. And as if you have the condition available, that's all enemy followers, all of them. Which, as I said, can be quite nasty, but can also be a bit useless. It depends entirely against who you're fighting. You got another mascot type character, which is again looking for 5 followers returned to hand. An allied effect has returned 1 or more cards to a player's hand in this match. So I think that means if you use something that returns a bunch of stuff, to the hand at once, it doesn't count. It only counts that as one, if I'm reading that correctly. That's interesting. It's got, so that gains Storm. It's not particularly spicy on its own. It's only a 1/1. But getting Storm means you can either ping for a bit of damage or get the spell Floral Bleeds into your hand, which is a new spell, which is right here. Which isn't a token spell, you can put this in the deck. But yeah, this is, again, pulling into the direction of bouncing your stuff. It's not as good as similar cards in the past, though, because obviously the OG version of this kind of card is like Nature's Guidance, but this is Restore only heals you for one instead of draws you a card, which is much, much worse. But depends if it will be. So getting it from this is probably fine, but getting it putting it in the deck, maybe not, unless you really need all the bounces you can to affect the thing. And obviously it's nowhere near as strong a replacement as Fairy Healer, which is rotating out. So we'll see. Forest cards generally a bit weird. They usually are, so we'll see how they're doing. And then we move on to Swordcraft. And the first one is the Valiant Fencer. They've got a kind of Tokusatsu hero theme going on. And in fact, the new archetype is even called Hero. So this is a commander hero. And its traits. And an interesting one. This is very much a card that's dependent on how good the whole selection of hero cards are. Because of the enhance, because drawing cards up to 7 is pretty nice, but obviously you want to get your free hero followers on the board as well. Which there are a few nice ones already revealed, but we'll see how it's how consistent it is and what the other stuff you can get from it are. Can't take 3 damage all that time is a neat enough effect, especially on something that's this reasonably beefy. Is a 3/5 or 5/7 when Evo, which is alright for 4. And the Evo is very nice because it just makes all your other heroes. It's gonna make all your heroes just beefier and have rush, which is just nice. It's not it doesn't improve their offensive power really, but it is just it helps them stick on the board, helps them be more annoying and just trade into things. And the other non-anime legendary is Opulent Strategist, who's a blonde twin-tailed Ojo-sama, so I know several of my friends who very much like this card art, but probably know more that like the Tokatsu theme more, to be honest. But yeah, another interesting card. This one's pulling in the kind of spell Swordcraft that plays spells, which is a bit weird for it, because usually it only plays big spells that summon a large board, while this one wants to play cheap spells that do minor effects, because when you play a spell, she evolves, and then after that you start when she's evolved and you play a spell, she gets basic effects. They did say in the FAQ that if you play your spell and evolve her, she doesn't trigger. Hello, Evelyn the Murder Maid. Welcome. Thank you for following. Thank you for coming in. I'm just talking through the revealed cards for Shadowverse so far, and so we're just going through Swordcraft right now. It's off now, but yeah, lovely to have a new follower. I think, if I'm right, that makes you you are officially the nicest follower because that's now my 69th follower. So you get to feel good about that. You don't get any bonuses, but you get to brag about that when to someone. Yes, very nice. Yeah, speaking of just very nice, so this is just a very like versatile little card art. And like you can, if you want to get a lot of spells running, you can play. You'd probably play her with the glittering gold stuff from Paradise, because obviously that gives you a load of cheap spells to play for the gold coins, and some of those even cost, and you can even have various effects that make those cost 0. So that works pretty well with her. But even on her own, if you have, okay, I'll try and, but like glittering gold is an archetype that never really caught on. It's basically a bunch of cards that generate these coins that just heal all allies for one play point, and then they get various effects depending on how many coins you've added to your hand, and then when you play them, and they're on the field, they get effects. So there hasn't been a big enough payoff, and I don't know if Opulent Strategy just really does so, but I think she'll still see play as like a general versatile card because of Rally 10, which is, if you don't know, that's when you've got you've had 10 followers enter the board in the game. Because if you get hit Rally 10, then she's crossed from the 3 from the turn, and the thing is, We Merchant's Appraisal and Graceful Maneuver are both 3-cost spells. Is like you can check here. And that's I'm glad you're still learning, even if you're not applying it, Caden. So We Merchant's Appraisal by itself is an Evo point recovery. So even then, that's basically the same effect as just playing as Taketsumi, and Taketsumi's still in rotation, so you can have both. You can play like a just a rally swordcraft deck, not really focusing on the spell aspect of this card, and you can play her and Taketsumi. And Taketsumi can make a 0-cost spell as well, so you can recover. You have a lot of Evo point recovery with that, and then you've also got the option for some AoE board clear, and I think I can just about cast. And Dual Blade Flurry is mostly going to be if you've already got something sitting on the board, or a cheap storm like Sure thing, Evelyn. What is your question? I'm always happy to answer questions. Yeah. There's stuff for all the classes, and I'll get to the Portalcraft eventually, but it's like right at the bottom. They always put Portalcraft right at the bottom. It's a down you start it. Haven't been talking for too long, and so we will get to the Portalcraft stuff. But yeah, no. It's fine. I don't know how late it is. But yeah, so generally, I think this card will probably see a decent amount of play. Maybe I might be wrong, but like 3 play point 3/3s are fine. You get your value, you get your value even if you're not on rally, and free evos are also good for swordcraft. But like if you put like for a late game play, you can put Dual Blade Flurry on an evolved Kagamitsu, and that's really strong. Because especially if you've hit the 7 evos in the game, because then that's him swinging twice and hitting your opponent's entire board and face for 4, plus there's a normal attack for fine. Fine. So if you've got like a Kagamitsu coming into play just from his own effect, or it's just really late in the game and you just play him from hand, that can be one of the reasons where you'd put Dual Blade Flurry in play, or you just again have something that survived a turn. It's quite likely. But like, worst case scenario, you'd probably get yeah, I think there's I'm gonna like when I get to Portal, I think they've got some new stuff that really meshes well with puppets, even if they are pulling a lot in artifacts direction this set, I'd say. But there's still some good stuff for puppets, which is good because puppets pretty much is pretty alright, and I don't think it's losing that much in rotation. So it's got it's got like one of the legendaries works well in puppets, I think, but they're mostly trying to revive artifacts, I think, which is fair because artifacts are in a pretty dire state at the moment. But yeah, that's opulent strategist, and obviously if you can get that like big turn where you have a load of cheap spells to play and the board to buff, then that can be quite strong. But I don't think I don't think you're going to get this off twice, because basically you can get all these effects off twice. So you can restore up to 4. They're likely you're only restoring 2 because your first spell will probably be the one that auto evolves, and then she won't be evolved to see the spell. But then again, that's not your biggest loss. That's only losing a 2 HP heal, which is not the worst thing to lose, because you mainly want the draw cards and board buffs out of it. But yeah, not entirely sure you'll really get round to that much, but if it does work, it will work, because there is the and that'll be a thing in the like gold-based swordcraft, because there is like that card that's like when you play that gets storm. I need to have another look at the at all the festive swordcraft cards from Edge of Paradise. Because there is like a cheap storm in there. I can't remember how you activate it. I think it's either you've obtained 3 gold cards, or you've played, or when it's on the. Yeah, I think that's what will make her see a lot of plays. She can be a cornerstone of the deck, but she can also just be a useful card just because of all the options that you have here. Because it's either Evo point recovery, and that's a heal and a buff you get from the loot cards, and Octrice is still in rotation, so you can fuse the loot cards to just turn them into card draw. Or Graceful Maneuver for some board clearance, and even on her own, that's if you play that, then you play her, you play Graceful Maneuver on her, she evos, and then that's a fairly 3 play point 5 damage board clear, and she's also hitting something else for another 5. So that can be quite strong, especially since Swordcraft doesn't usually have a lot of board clear. Or again, you said you can use Dual Blade Flurry to kind of like to just kill your opponent, usually, is what that's mainly used for. With, as I said, with anything that's stuck on the board, or Kagamitsu, or possibly other cards, as we shall see. The rest of these cards are all more of the hero stuff. So we've got the hero mascot card. It's just kind of it just gets a lot of benefit from other hero cards in play. So like any other hero followers in play get +1/+0 in Storm. And then if you Evo it, it not only deals 3 damage to an enemy follower and gains full stats. It then if you've got another hero in play, then it also gets another +1/+. So that ends up as a 5/4 Storm for 1 play point and an Evo point, which is actually quite strong. I didn't mean to right click there. So I think that will be like, this will be like a pretty strong part of like any hero-based archetypes any hero-based sword decks. They might even not go full hero. They might just have a couple of hero cards just to make sure this is active. Because I think it's just a really... Again, you could give that Dual Blade Flurry from the... you could give that Dual Blade Flurry from Opulent Strategist, and that's 10 damage. Yeah, because given the... I'll just quickly go back to... Because I don't know if you were here, given the... Valiant Fencer's effect of like getting a load of heroes and then reducing them to 0 cost, and then you've got the this is Heroic Entry. I'll go to Mac Knight first because it's another normal card, and that's just like a 3/3 storm, and if you've got anything damaged in play, you recover 2 play points, and again that's just pretty efficient, especially if you're casting it for 0. That's just adding more damage to your board. And then you've got Heroic Entry, the Heroic Entry card, and which is your like hero tutor. That's also a board clear here, and also is if you've got any damage followers play, just summons as a 3/3 storm orm. So like 5 play points is a bit spicy, especially if you don't have many heroes in your hand at the time. Because it will it might not like be anywhere near enough to clear the board. Yeah. Well, I guess if Heroic Champions is a lot like if they're pulling off the same like Tokatsu Kamen Rider stuff theme is like knight-themed Tokatsu heroes is the kind of idea, then it would make sense that there's some similarities there. Especially in the design, because they're all pulling from the same inspirations. Most likely. Gameplay-wise, yeah. I said they might have also just been inspired by Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. No one's saying card games can't be inspired by each other. I mean, again, the anime stuff is very Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, just in general theme. Like, I've said that the first anime was very Yu-Gi-Oh! And the second anime that this set is based on, and thusly all these, like, hero archetype. The Swordcraft hero archetype is based on cards from the Shadowverse Flame anime. Okay, see, this is more like making a scary board, really. He said, we'll have to see. I don't know if they'll print any more particular... We'll have to see what other hero cards they print in, like, the gold and in the other silver and bronze options, because we've seen all the golden legendary ones now. And yeah, it's very dependent on how many other heroes and if there's more like... Because obviously this is pretty good in terms of just a value machine, but even then, and then Mac Knight itself adds... Yeah, I don't know much Yu-Gi-Oh! Myself, I just know I've got a few friends who play it and I've seen a few things from it, but I don't play it myself, so I'm not familiar. I just know like the old, all I know from it is like the old anime stuff. And when I watched that as a wee child. But yeah, that's the kind of thing sort of they seem to be getting lots of value from these hero cards. And a lot of storm damage, basically, because they got the two cornerstone like damage dealers are both storm, and the one that isn't is very much a card draw engine to get you more storm. Maybe working together we can teach each other. But so that's all the Swordcraft cards so far. Let's go to the Runecraft cards. They did reveal a lot of Runecraft cards today, so I'll kind of like mention them a bit, but they're not on the site yet. So this is but first things is a fairly simple-ish one. This is obviously kind of like a new equivalent to Rooney, but much less aggressive, in that she's a cheap-ish follower that that does a bunch of things as she gets spell boosted. But unlike Rooney, who could like endlessly recur herself, hers is tied to Evo points, but then she recovers Evo points, so she can kind of endlessly recur herself, but not like the but not like Rooney. Also, she doesn't deal face damage or heal, which is a big issue, especially since spell boosts like type Runecraft in general is just losing a lot of damage from Isabel rotating out. So we'll see if like spell boost even survives rotation. So it is an interesting effect on her Evo that she returns herself. Well, she makes a copy, spell boosts it, then returns, then banishes herself. Which, like, she recovers 2 play points after only 5 spell boosts herself. It's only... yeah, we'll see who plays. She's at least on play, it's still just draw 2 cards, spell boost the cards in your hand. That's just static. So that's probably good enough in a lot of cases. So she probably will see play in spell boost decks, if spell boost decks are still a thing. Mainly. Now we've got the kind of the anime archetype of Runecraft, which is chess! Got chess in your Shadowverse. Where it's all this very thing of cards that gain extra effects if you've had 8 magical pawns leave play this match. And so they revealed a couple of the, like, the gold mascot and the main legendary of this archetype in the set. So can't really bring it up on stream because I've only got it available in on the Shadowverse Discord, and I can't be bothered to like bring it up on stream. So I'm just gonna like give the skinning of it. Like, so they've got the Mystic Queen, which is actually a pretty interesting card. It's a 2 play point 1/2 gold chess follower, and the Evo, it's got full stats on Evo, so 3/4 on Evo. And its effects is once during each of your turns, when you play a follower, put a magical strategy into your hand, and then once on each of your turns, whenever you play a spell, summon a magical pawn. And then on Evo, it's put a magical pawn into your hand and change its cost to 0. A magical pawn, by the way, is a 1/1 rush. So just on the basis of the Mystic Queen, you Evo her, you get a magical pawn, which is probably a 1/1 rush at this point. And then you can play a magical strategy, which makes a magical pawn from itself, and then a magical pawn from the Queen's effect. So you get the Queen as a 3/4, 3 1/1 rush pawns, which again is getting you very quickly up to that 8 pawn on 8 pawn count. Which this archetype just sounds really weird with my British accent, because I'm sure your people are already snickering. But it's what I gotta do. I gotta say it. I gotta say what the cards do. And then yeah, so you get you draw a card. So the Queen herself is actually makes a pretty strong card, especially on Evo turn, because you're cycling, you're playing a spell, you're making 3 pawns, and they're all 1/1 rushes. And if you've got it to, and if you are at your 8 count, then you're making 4 pawns, and they're all got +1/+0, so they're 2/1 rushes. So that can be pretty, I think that'll be pretty spicy. And the legendary is, of course, the king. Very weird when they all make, like, chess archetypes or chess references in games, and it's like, the king is the strongest out of them. But it's like, if you play chess, you know the king actually doesn't move very well at all, and the queen's the strongest piece. And here, the queen is a 1-2, but arguably a very strong piece indeed. It's just a cheap, low-cost piece. And the king is a 16 play point, 13-13. So off the bat, you can't play him normally. But his effect is, at the end of your turn, if you've had your 8 magical pawns left play, he's in your hand, subtract 8 from his cost. So that's half his base cost of 16. And he's a 13-13 that can't be targeted by effects. And whenever an allied pawn comes into play, give it +1/+1 Storm and Ward, and he also summons 4 pawns as fanfare. So that's just kind of, he just makes a big spicy board, and he's a large body that's a bit annoying to deal with because he can't be targeted. He's not immune to, like, destruction effects, so you can hit him with Bane, you can just punch him with a really big thing, though 13-13 is pretty big, or just clear it with, like, random destruction or banish effects, or board clears. Nah. But yeah, I guess maybe they did pull a lot of inspiration from Yu-Gi-Oh! On this set. Who knows? Entirely possible. But yeah, and obviously the scary thing is it makes, obviously your pawns will be 2-1s when you play him, because you literally, unless you do something else to cheat him in, like Imagination Realized, which he might be included in, though probably not, because he's useless if you don't hit him with Imagination Realized. Then yeah, there'll be 3 2s with his effect and their own effect in play. So that's just it's 12 damage, it's 12 storm damage off the board. But it depends if 12 storm damage is enough, really, is the question. You're playing him for like, usually you'll probably be playing him for 8, unless he's been sitting in your hand for ages. And you hit that, and you can hit that 8, the 8 pawn counter really quickly. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see if he gets enough thing, or if Runecroft gets some. As I said, it's just the pawn from the pawn tokens, the king and the queen. So we'll definitely probably see some rooks, knights, and bishops as well. So those will probably be the other silvers and bronzes, I would imagine. Maybe one of them is another gold. Actually, no, that's 2 golds on devoted to chess, so it's probably going to be the silvers and bronzes are going to be like the knights, the rooks, and the bishops. So I assume that'd be the full set. And then we get to Dragoncraft, which is also pulling in an interesting little theme. And so we get our big protagonist card, the Leviathan Dragon. So the anime dragon cards are all built around this armed type, so they're all very like mecha, they're basically lots of dragons wearing armor with these big glowy weapons, which look a lot like the dragon stuff from the previous anime stuff, but I guess they want to make it a thematic through line, I guess, or something. I don't know. But they're all built around this armed trait, and they want to have at least 4 armed followers left play, which, yeah, I didn't watch the anime because I saw it and was like, this is just fucking a Yu-Gi-Oh! Ripoff, and then people were saying, oh, it's just a Yu-Gi-Oh! Ripoff, and I was like, well, surprisingly, the Switch game that's based off the anime is apparently a lot better. Like, they actually characterize the characters a lot better than they do in the anime, apparently. But I'm still one of those. I'm still just like, why would you play the Switch game when you can play the mobile game for free? You have to grind for the cards anyway. Like, I mean, the Switch game's probably a bit more generous. and it's a very weirdly static meta. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that everyone was basically confirming things, but so yeah, all of these armed cards care about armed followers, but they also give you these draconic weapons, which make other followers into armed followers. So getting that four follower count actually, so it does mean you can put a lot of cards that aren't armed followers. They're actually reliant on having the entire all your followers be have this trait. You can mix and match them with a lot of different cards, which you probably will do with Dragon because you want stuff that ramps, especially. And the interesting thing about it is it does this really weird thing. Is that when you evolve it, so yeah, if you have a draconic weapon in hand, and that before you evolve it, when you play it, you discard one and you can evo for 0 evo points, which is interesting because, of course, if you meet the 4 armed followers left play condition, he actually evolves into a different card, which is not something other cards really do. He actually evolves into his attack form, which has more attack, one less defense. Dragoncrafters generally about big numbers. They do like their big numbers. It's the ramp archetype, so they like to play big things. It's just the flavor of big things. There's been a few dragon type archetypes that aren't usually built around ramp, but almost all of them are. So yeah, the main difference between its regular form and attack form is obviously attack form has more attack and 1 less defense, and where the main form deals 5 damage to an enemy follower, this one deals 5 damage to all enemy followers. And they both put a draconic weapon into your hand, and this one also buffs any other armed follower that attacks. So if you can play this alongside an armed follower that's Storm, then that can be quite spicy. Or if you make a Storm follower an armed follower, which is said for Storm followers, we do have. It's got it, and yeah, it's like even though it's technically a different card with a different name, it is essentially the same card. It's treated as the same card, but that's an interesting thing they haven't done before. This kind of. What did you realize, Evelyn? What have you figured out? Now, is that another another Yu-Gi-Oh archetype? So there's probably been so many Yu-Gi-Oh archetypes that it's hard not to get some overlap. Really. But maybe we'll see when we look at the. Okay, I'll have to have a look at it. What does Utopia do? Like, personally, I kind of think especially the Leviathan Dragon is very Digimon with this its weird Evo mechanic. That's just me. That's just what my brain associates with it. It's like, oh, it's digivolving. Especially when you've got like the mascots that are very clearly like first stage Digimons. And like when we get to you can kind of see in the background the Dragoncraft mascot card. Yeah. Well, with this, the weapon doesn't actually make anything stronger. It only gives a very minor buff. Its main thing is turning something into an armed follower, so that you get your count up. This is also 0 play points, so it's not So you're not like, yeah, as I said, when I first saw the stuff for the anime promo, I was like, oh, now they've just gone to ripping off Digimon instead of ripping off Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah, their archetypes are pretty similar to Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, but it's still it's introducing interesting stuff to the. Fair enough. As I said, I don't know Yu-Gi-Oh, but if a Yu-Gi-Oh player says it, who am I to argue? But now for a far more traditional Shadowverse card, we've got Captain Dragewood, who's a pretty pirate lad, and he's at base is a ramp card, and he's a 5 play point follower, so that's makes him very similar to Roy, to the last Roy version of Roy they printed, though he's a bit worse on base stats. But he does come with the enhance to summon a 5/5 storm, which is pretty strong. And then on Evo, he summons a 4/3, like Hellflame is a 4/3 rush, yes. And yeah, 5/5 Storm token from the Windblast Dragon. And if you've got 10 play point orbs, you summon a Windblast Dragon instead. So that's like, if you're at 10 play point orbs, you play that on 7 and you get 2 5/5 Storms, which is pretty good. The Rowan's rotating out, so you don't get the extra like damage from having the sources split up a little. Again, yeah, you're mainly playing it for them for the ramp. It said otherwise just a fairly standard Dragoncraft card. Ramps, summons big things. Big things being thematically dragons. And then, you know, we've got the mascot of the armed archetype, Draconeer and Knuckle Dragon. It's fairly simple, gets you a draconic weapon and is Evo point recovery if you've had your 4 armed followers leave play this match. And if you Evo him, you deal 4 damage to an enemy follower and get another weapon. So again, just another way to get your so like if you play that and Evo that's in total, that's 3 armed followers. I mean, I'm sure they'll make a plushie soon. I feel like they will definitely at some point. This is Cygames, they love making their merch. But yeah, fairly simple. Like, on its own, as long as you have the followers to give the weapons to, that's 3 armed followers from 1 card. So that's pretty good. So this is one of your main. So this is like your main one of your main store damage sources. So you want to play this alongside level 18 like armed dragon. There, the attack form Leviathan Dragon, because it gets storm. It'll be a 2/3 storm, and Leviathan makes it a 4/5 storm. And on Last Words, it gets Draconic Smash, which is just another source of getting a draconic weapon. And otherwise, you just have it as it's a goblin armed that then gets you a draconic. So again, all these armed followers seem to get you a draconic weapon at the very least. Well, that might be a while, Caden, because I'm not officially allowed to make merch of this model. I don't have the rights to merch of it. So you have to wait until I get my own unique model, which will be quite a while. Unless I suddenly come into a lot of money somehow. But again, not banking on that. So yeah, they're all kind of pulling in the same direction, and it's getting 4 armed followers leaving play seems fairly easy when you've got all the armed followers essentially count for at least 2. As long as you've got something to give the weapon to. There might be other things that benefit you for like having a weapon in hand and discarding it, like Leviathan Dragon does. It gets its free Evo there. You want to have like 1 weapon in hand for that at the very least. Because it replaces it, when it evos, it replaces the weapon, regardless of what conditions you're at. And then we've got the other an armed tutor, essentially. It puts a draconic weapon into your hand. And then if you've got any other armed followers, it only tutors a follower if you've already got an armed follower, so that might be a bit awkward. But otherwise, it's just a sign. If you're running an armed deck, you run this card almost certainly, because it's a weapon and it makes tutors you another armed follower, which you want to have as many. You want to have all your armed followers leave play as soon as possible so that all your armed followers get better. You want to hit that really quickly. So that's the end of Dragoncraft, and now we move on to Shadowcraft and start with a pretty spicy one, really. So this is the other this is, believe it or not, one of the anime cards, because they're all designed around ghosts and gargantuan ghosts, which is a new token they've put. Ghosts obviously being the 1/1 storms that banish themselves at the end of turn, or just when they leave play in general. But it's a pretty spicy Masquerade Ghost is pretty spicy, because when it comes in, important is whenever it comes into play. So any effect that brings it into play, you get a ghost, and whenever you get a ghost, he gives it +1/+0, and then when that ghost goes away, he summons a gargantuan ghost, which is a 4/4 ward. It doesn't banish itself at the end of turn, but it does banish whenever it's left play by other means. So it doesn't it basically just doesn't contribute to your shadow count, and you can't reanimate it unless you find a weird way to destroy it somehow. And on top of that, it's got last words, it summons a 6 play point version of itself without last words next turn. So you get to have this effect, so you'll come in and he'll summon another ghost, and then you get to do more ghost things with your full set of play points. And importantly, because it's a 6 play point version, you can specifically target the version that has last words with Reanimate 5. And whilst there is a card built around that later. Yeah, he's it's a big boy who sticks around, who's hard to get rid of. Obviously, if your opponent banishes them, they're not going to come back. So that's the big risk. So maybe you want to, even though it doesn't have an Evo effect, you might want to just Evo him and trade him in something anyway, or sacrifice him to a different effect, but then when your ghost is banished at the end of the turn, you won't get a gargantuan ghost, so you have to make sure to trade in your own ghosts. But then if you're setting up for a big, super ghost turn next turn, then maybe. Necro Impulse isn't in rotation anymore, I'm pretty damn sure. I might be wrong. So you don't get that kind of spicy turn, because that would be a lot of damage as Necro Impulse. And then we've got the non-anime legendary, which is Tashella and the 2 bodyguards, which is built all around just reanimating a wide board. So she reanimates 2 things, a 1 cost and a 2 cost. And then, for people who don't know, reanimate is randomly summon one of the highest cost followers that costs less than the reanimate value. So reanimate 1 summons a random 1 or 1 cost or lower if you don't have any 1 costs. Not my type, but I can see it. They got pretty good masks on. I can see it. But yeah, so the first 2 followers that get reanimated during your turn get +1/+1 and ward. So that obviously, when you just play her, that hits both of these. And then the third one gets +1/+1 and storm. And on Evo, she reanimates 3. So obviously, by herself, she can hit all 3 of her. And it's third or later. So even if you somehow get more reanimates, if you do get more reanimates, those will also get +1/+1 and storm. So by herself, she just makes a decently wide board, and 2 of them with ward and 1 of them with storm. She doesn't get any stats on Evo, but that's fine because she reanimates 3, so probably be a bit much. What you can do in the current what probably will be the main spicy thing you do in the current pool is your reanimate target is Sononos, because she has Evo Reanimate 4. So you play her, she reanimates one of your random 1-drops and Sononos as your only 2-drop. And then you Evo Sononos, so you reanimate a 4, which is obviously better than a 3, which is usually like Susie Hexcaster, and then you have the Susie Hexcaster who Evos herself on being reanimated, and she gets +1/+1 and Storm, and then you can get her necromancy effect. So that's the like initial obvious combo you've got there. But there might be other stuff coming. We'll have to see. But yeah, just a generally good, solid board value card, really. And we'll probably see decent amounts of play. This is the mascot of Shadowcraft. It's very simple. It summons a ghost. Obviously very good with the Masquerade Ghost, because that gets to be a bigger ghost, and if you've got any Gargantuan ghosts in play, also draws a card. And on Last Words, you get a 1 play point copy, so you can... So you just have so it's a very good card to like sacrifice to any kind of self-destruct. It does look a bit like Mimikyu, yeah. It's got that kind of fake little hat thing vibe going on. Yeah, I see where you're going. I see where you're coming from there. I do see the resemblance. It was like trying to look cuter by having this weird cat puppet on its head. It does look very huggable. But yeah, just generally a solid card. Low cost, goes in, can, even if you're not playing particularly a deck built around Masquerade Ghost, it's still kind of solid because it puts a lot of bodies in play, so you can use them. So it's and returns itself from the and you get another copy with Last Words. So it's a very good target for your any kind of like self-sacrifice cards that Shadowcraft has. Thank you for the stretch. Right. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'll go on to the next card. Obviously. Get another simple card. Not a 3/3 for 3, which is always nice. And thank you for the hydrate as well. But yeah, a fairly simple card. Necromancy 1, obviously very cheap, very easy to have active and effectively itself. So you draw a card and you put a ghost into your hand, which can be handy because you might want to save that ghost for later for, say, playing with Masquerade Ghost. And just cycles. And of course, the evolving summon, he gets full stats on Evo, so the summoning 2 ghosts is also just a really good bonus. Again, you can play that alongside Masquerade Ghost when they get summoned back from their Last Words. So just generally a solid card, and it looks very cheery. Cheery little Dullahan with his jack-o'-lantern head. So yeah, just a nice, simple, solid card. Again, if you're running, might see playing a lot of decks, but especially good in your Masquerade Ghost deck because he gives you more ghosts. Ghosts do still cost 1, so you don't need to actually play it, but it's still pretty good. So this is the main Reanimate 5 option you get for Masquerade Ghost, because there wasn't really, I don't think there is a Reanimate 5 currently in rotation for Shadowcraft. So this is now it. Yeah, he's very Nightmare Before Christmas. It's like a slightly more, he's a more anime actually no, they didn't really have like a jack-o'-lantern head Dullahan of some kind. So But yeah, still very. It just has that general kind of Halloween theme in general. And then yeah, Necro Carnival is like at 2 play points, summons a zombie, which is of course a 2/2, so that's fine. And also because it's a spell and it's summoning a zombie, that's 2 shadows, which can be important. And summoning a zombie and a ghost is very useful. That's 2 bodies. The ghost can hit face or trade something. And then of course, if you're playing in Masquerade, a Masquerade Ghost deck, you obviously want it for it's enhanced because you reanimate your 5. Your 5 is obviously Masquerade Ghost, and then you get an additional ghost with it. And so I think that ghost will get. I'll have to check when the set's actually out, or if they've put an FAQ out to see if the ghost summoned from Necro Carnival also benefits from Masquerade Ghost buff, but it will still also become a Gargantuan Ghost when it banishes. So generally, pretty damn good if you're running Masquerade Ghost, and just a solid card in general. So I expect this to be in quite a few decks. Now we're on to Bloodcraft. A lot of Bloodcraft is built around Wrath. If you don't know what Wrath is when you have been dealt damage. You have dealt damage to yourself 7 times during your own turn over the course of the game. Eldritch, I've heard of that card, but I can't remember what it does. Yeah, it is like summoning small things that then become big things, or just returning back a lot. That makes sense. But yeah, our first our like flagship. I see. Oh, Eldritch, isn't it? Yeah. It's supposed to be like a shortened version of Elderlich, I guess. Makes sense that he recurs. But yeah, you got this Jammin' Demon looking pretty cool. It's a fairly simple card. It's Wrath, because a lot of they're pushing Wrath back, but they're obviously a lot of Wrath enables and Wrath payoffs are leaving in rotation, so they're going to have to print a bunch more. And this is a fairly basic one, where obviously he deals 3 damage. He does a board clear, which is nice. If Wrath is not active view, he hits you in the face, which is, again, alright, because that, again, puts you towards Wrath, but 3 damage is obviously a lot to take at once. It only counts as 1 hit for Wrath. But on Evo, he does have Storm and Drain, so even if you don't have Wrath active, you can still manually Evo and get most of the health, and get like the self-damage health back. But if you have Wrath, then he's just pure gains. And it's just, yeah, a 5.55 Storm Drain. That is an okay board clear. 3 damage board clear is pretty nice. Obviously not going to clear like bigger boards, but you probably want to play things alongside them. Otherwise, just generally a cool. And then we have Tivali, Demonic Cat, who's something to look at for sure. Do like to see evil women. You absolutely can. That is a very dangerous thing you can do playing Bloodcraft. The big risk of like Wrath decks is that if you get rushed down early, you're just hastening your own demise. There's a lot of Wrath payouts. That's the kind of like payoff of Wrath that's always gone through the thing, is like you're burning yourself down through your own self-damage effects, but once you hit Wrath, you actually get a lot of healing effects. Like a lot of Wrath payouts heal, so once you hit that point, you gain a lot of healing. So you can quite easily make up for the damage you've dealt to yourself, and more so. Like one card that's leaving rotation is Urias, who gave you the effect of ignoring damage dealt to you on your own turn, so you wouldn't actually take your Wrath pings, but he's rotating out, so that's not a factor anymore. But yeah, now we've got Tavali, cat of demonic cat of impressive endowments, and is basically feels like a re-implementation of one of the old Princess Connect, the Bloodcraft Princess Connect character from that when they did that crossover, because it's an Evo synergy card that burns the enemy and heals you for 3. There's a lot of anime waifus in Shadowverse. It's very anime. Because there's been a lot more Digimon themed stuff this set. But I just lingered on this one because I'm a degenerate. But yeah, a fairly simple card for any kind of Evo based decks, which is there might be Wrath, because a lot of the Wrath payoff cards, especially in this set, do also Evo for free. And good to hear I'm not ostracizing the new follower. But yeah, a fairly solid card. Interestingly enough, that her burn and heal happens at the end of turn, so you can play her and then evolve her manually, which is Bane, which is quite nice. But otherwise, just a general card you kind of save up and then you just drop her alongside another bunch of cheap burn that you've accumulated through Evos. As I said, could be Howling Demon, could be alongside Howling Demon or whatever, just a kind of like a supplementary cheap damage. As I said, Bloodcraft loves doing 3 damage for 2 play points. They have a lot of cards that do that, especially since, all the old days of Razory Claw. It might seem like a bit more win more, but like it's it's kind of needed, because a lot of the current Evo and Wrath cards kind of struggle just a bit to finish off the opponent, so having access to more burn is quite important. There's a lot of cases where those kinds of decks just kind of like just can't quite finish the opponent off. But yeah, 3 damage for 2 play points. There's a lot of Bloodcraft cards that do that. So it's all about accumulating cards like these and burning your opponent down before they can heal you up. It's not exactly going to be win more, because especially in the current meta, you do need... I guess that's... Yeah, like, rather... At end of turn rather than fanfare is a bit weird. But it doesn't make that much of a difference, really. Like, what it means is you can play her and then reach your 5 Evos rather than having to play her after you've reached your 5 Evos. That's the main thing it changes. Also, it stops her from like being able to help you circumvent certain Wrath costs, I guess. Not sure why it's exactly end of turn, but there's reasons. Does mean you can't just like Evo and you can't like trade her, because she has to stick around to the end. Like, I think there's a reason. They've definitely thought this through. I don't think they forgot. I think they've thought this through, why it's at end of turn and not fanfare. And like, there are implications it makes. As I said, if you play her and then if you need to kill off a big thing and you play her, trade her, Evo her, and trade her for Bane, then she's not doing the damage and healing. Yeah, that's what I was kind of trying to say, Emily CK. Thank you for chatting. Thank you for coming in, and yeah, so it is it does change how you play her just a bit. And obviously she has, at the start of your next turn, draw a card, which is very good for Avarice triggers, which again also includes a bunch of Evos and a bunch of effects. So any kind of like Evo-based deck, you'll probably see her in. Most definitely. And especially, like... So I think she'll be fairly staple, pretty much like how Ilya was. Back when she was around, she was a fairly important part of like Evo-based burn strategies, even non-Evo-based burn strategies. You just waited until you hit 10 play points and then dropped a crap load of burn on your opponent and they died. Just happened then. But yeah, so I think the rest of the cards are more of the Wrath betas. And so this is so Demonium, a little cute little guy, is also a fairly like useful little card. Like a 3 play point 1/5 is a pretty good annoying stat line to deal with, especially when he's got Bane. So that he'll trade with anything and be very hard and usually get 1 or 2 things before going down. It's like Evo's on Wrath, so again more Wrath Evo synergy. And in a turn he pings you twice. Obviously, no other benefit to it, but it does. Yeah, the mascot characters are all pretty adorable. Cool. Yeah, he's just got his little horn when he evos. He gets his second horn back and he gets some wings. But yeah, so that's useful for like accelerating your wrath count. But obviously, you don't actually get any. Usually, when they do that kind of thing, you also get a benefit. But he doesn't. He's just got this. He's just an efficient follower stats wise. And obviously, when he evos, and you can evo him manually still, he loses that. He doesn't have that, and he just has ward instead, which again makes him an incredibly annoying little follower to deal with. That's a 3/7 Bane ward drain. So it's hard to efficiently trade into. And another Wrath card is this dapper man here. Yeah, he is just basically a bit of a wall. Is that he doesn't have ward beforehand, but he does have ward after, and is that he's going to just probably take out 2 or 3 targets early game aim unless your opponent has the right kind of removal for him. And if he sticks around more couple of turns, he's going to ping you more and accelerate your wrath really quickly. So obviously he only self-evos on Fanfare, so if you do have wrath enabled, then he's going to keep pinging you unless he dies. But he's probably not going to stick around that long. And then we've got Demon Maestro. It's another simple little small wrath enabler and payoff. So if you're not in wrath, he pings you and you draw a card. And he's also got last words. He pings you and you draw a card. So he's 2, unless he gets banished, that's 2 pings for your wrath count. You also get Infernal Orchestration, which gives Rush, which is a spell. It's not a token, so you can also put this in your deck. This has a spell. It gives just +1 and Rush to an allied follower, which is quite, especially if you've made it cost 0 from this. You want to stack that up, and you can either just play him from Ceremonium for healing, or you can play it on Howling Demon or any of your other storms for some more damage. So just a generally useful card. Again, you'll see him a lot in Wrath because he's cheap, he pings you decently, and he gives you decent value from card draw, and activates Avarice, which is important. The Infernal Orchestration does ping you as well. But if you're getting it from him, then it's not going to... it's just going to draw you a card. So you always draw a card from him, which is nice. He's always going to be a positive of at least 2 cards. Yeah, like, this is it is... I said Wrath's an archetype that's been around a while, so there's not actually anything particularly new. It's just they've just slotted the anime cards into it. So unlike some of the other classes where they're trying new stuff, this is very much a existing archetype that's been around a while. And this is just the latest iteration of it, really. Where they've gone back to like having it synergize well with Evo-based strategies, Evo-based archetypes. So you've got a lot of variety. You can either go more heavy on Wrath, more heavy on Evos, lots of options there. That the last of the we've got Infernal Orchestration as a card, and now we're on to Havencroft. The Havencroft cards are weird. So weird. So this is the main anime boss card, super card, whatever. So it's kind of built around this where this card doesn't have Storm and it's got Strike. If this follower has Storm and Ward, destroy all enemy followers, but it doesn't have Storm or Ward like innately. You have to find a way to give it to her. But when you do give her Storm and Ward, she will give another follower that doesn't have Storm, and then another follower that doesn't have Ward, for both of those effects. She's also just a 2/2 that can't be destroyed by effects. So giving something else, that's the thing, giving something Storm is pretty powerful, especially in Havencroft, because they have their countdown amulets, which of course can summon in some fairly big beefy bodies. So like God of Curses is just a 6/6, even if you're not including its evolved form effects, is just a 6/6, and you give that Storm, that's going to be pretty spicy. And giving it War is pretty annoying because then you opponent has to attack into something with last words that they really don't want to deal with. What is your question, Evelyn? The Murder Maid. There'll be a lot more that makes more sense when I look at the other cards that make this card make a lot more sense. But first, the question. That will become apparent as I reveal more of the cards that were shown. So this is the mascot for so yeah, as they're going starting with the mascot. They did also reveal the other legendary, which again is also relevant to this archetype, but it's fairly simple. But yeah, so this is the mascot, and as you see, fanfare, give ward to all allied followers with 2 attack or less, which includes itself. So that hits that. It hits that, and then if you've played 5 cards using their Crystallize effect, which is where you play it for a cheaper cost and it becomes an amulet that has various effects, then give them Storm. So this is... So you'd play this, it gives this lady Storm and Ward, because you've had your 5 crystallized you've played 5 crystallized effects, and then she gives a much larger follower Storm and Ward, and like there's a few options for that. There's Skullfane, there's God of Curses, there's the Pegasus from Pegasus Knight, but that's a bit more of an awkward thing. And again, we've got Bejeweled Shrine, which again is also synergizes with Storm and Ward, with something with Storm and Ward that buffs it, and it buffs it even more if you've played through 5 cards using their Crystallize effect. There's also Lost Words draw a card, but that's only if you're just cycling through any extra Bejeweled Shrines you have, so you just don't have more than one of these in play. That's kind of like your synergy card to go along with this. We'll have to see what other they haven't really revealed that many other effects that give Storm and Ward, but I assume they will do stuff like specifically give Storm and Ward to small followers. You know, that's the other portal, the other so we'll get onto Portalcraft soon, but the other Havencroft legendary is a symbol card. It's Sacred Bird of Thunderbolt, and it's a 6 play point 4/4 Storm. And it's got Crystallize 1, so you can play it as for 1 play point. You can play it as an amulet with Countdown 2, and the amulet's last words are deal 2 damage to a random enemy follower, and As yeah, it is weird. Not even Yu-Gi-Oh compares. But yeah, it's 2 damage to a random enemy follower, and then you put a Sacred Bird of Thunderbolt back into your hand. So that's an important part of this archetype because that gives you a reusable crystallize. So you can consistently like get your crystallize counter up and just have that running, and you'd probably try and make it go faster with cards like Skullfane and other countdown reduction cards. And if you've also, when you play it, it's also got fanfare on its like main body of when you've played 5 cards with you've played 5 crystallize effects, you get 2 play points back. So it's effectively a 4/4 storm for 4. And if you can give it ward, you get all these bonuses. Now we move on to the Portalcraft cards, finally. So there'll be the neutral cards after this, but this is the last of the class cards we'll be looking at. So right off the bat, we've got some interesting things. So we've got Burial Rite Summon a Keen Age artifact, which is one of the old Paradigm Shift artifacts that I don't think we've got any paradigm. I think the last of the paradigm shift generators is rotating out with this set, so we've just got the cards that like generate the artifacts directly, like this one. But yeah, a 3/4 Rush Drain is very good to have, and like at the end of your turn, if it looks if you've got your 6 different artifact cards destroyed, you get +1/+1 and ward to all artifact followers. But yeah, Burial Rite in Portal is working out pretty well because that can help you get more artifact, get your artifact count higher. She is an artifact herself, so she does also count to that. And then yeah, so just a kind of like useful little buff card. Doesn't like push like extra damage that much because her effect does have the end of turn, but does make a decent board. She hits herself with her own buff, which is nice, but she is only a 0/1. She doesn't buff the Keen Edge artifact either, which means you don't get the extra bit of healing off that hitting. So interesting card. Not entirely sure, but she is cute. So, and as I said, new more artifact names is always useful to have. So she like Keen Edge on its own is probably worth playing 3 play points for. Like it's almost worth playing 5 play points for. It's technically worth playing 5 play points for, really. So a 3 play point Keen Edge artifact is just good enough on its own, and her body's mainly there just to increase the artifact count. Then we've got this card that's the main card that's like I see going towards Puppet Portal, which is Absolute Chastity. We've got another Absolute back in Portal, and like Absolute Tolerance, she gets cost reduction. And when she gets cost reduction but this time from when allied followers destroyed. So obviously that's the big synergy with puppets, because obviously they have the most. They do that a lot, so she can quite easily cost 0 very quickly in a puppet deck. But can also probably play pretty well in any kind of high destruction deck, like artifacts probably also would like her as well. But she isn't an artifact herself, so maybe not. But she's not as dangerous as Absolute Tolerance is, especially pre-nerf Absolute Tolerance. She's just a sorry. So she's just got she's at the 5/5 ward that banishes. Well, Puppet's already got its boss monster really with Orcus, so this is just a kind of like an additional handy tool because she's like, because Orcus actually like kills people, whilst this just removes something and then you've got some card draw, which is a bit of an awkward point in Puppet because you're likely to be sitting on a lot of cards in hand, which are mostly puppets. But if you play out all your puppets, you play out all your puppets and then play this card. Yeah, but Orcus came out last set, so they'll probably print something else because again, this card isn't going to win you the game. It's just going to help you not die mainly. I'm about to sneeze. But yeah, they'll probably print sorry. Sorry. Thank you, thank you, thank you. No, this is just a nice. This is nice removal and Hey, hey, Mark. Good to see. Good to see. We're getting through the end of the card reveals, so actually playing the game eventually soon. God, it's been like an hour and a half of me talking about cards. I guess that's good. But yeah, so this is definitely not like a card that wins that like directly wins you the game. Doesn't have Storm, doesn't do any damage. It's just a 5/5 or it's just a 5/5 ward, but it does banish on play. Which again, if you can play that for 1, that's really good. Play that for like really cheap or just 0, that's really good. And the card draw can like help you refill your hand. So generally, just very useful. Probably might see play, might not see play. Depends if there's space for it in decks, really. But it's like, it's not as scary as Absolute Tolerance was, because, you know, that was like fucking, that killed people. We've got more art, and the rest of the cards are pretty much all artifact cards, I think. We've got Zerk, Artifact Dominator, who's got a pretty handy little accelerate, where you can just play him for 1 to destroy an allied artifact, to sack an artifact, restore 2 health, and you draw a card. Just another way of a handy little thing to do with your artifacts. You're probably quite useful against decks that are very banish heavy, like Havencraft, because you don't want your artifacts getting banished. And you can use that on like artifacts that don't really do much on the board, like Vimedia herself, if you're not got the artifact counter-ups. Yeah, because Artifacts is not doing I went too far. Artifacts is not doing too great right now because it lost a lot of stuff in the previous rotation. So and all the other portal archetypes are doing pretty well, really. So they're kind of trying to bring artifacts back. They're trying to do it a new thing. And Zerk's got the fanfare of summoning 3 random different artifact followers of different costs destroyed this match, which is interesting. We'll have to see how you can manipulate that, really. Because, yeah, there's probably ways to manipulate that pretty well, because it is different costs. And so if you have stuff of the same cost, it's going to be part of the same pool. So it's a bit weird how that works. Especially if you're wanting to have, because you want to have 6 different artifact names destroyed. Which might make this a bit inconsistent, but at the very least, Accelerate will probably have him see play. Alright, well, lovely to see you, Evelyn. We've got the last card, which is a bit weird, which is the Arc, but thank you for dropping by. And thank you for the follow and the redeems and everything, and I hope to see you in another stream. Bye. But no, I'm not going anywhere. We've still got cards to look at, and then we've got card game to play. Probably, maybe, I don't know. Servers might be down. They won't be down. They'll be up. But now we have the Cube, or the Arc, which I think is some kind of plot important MacGuffin in the anime, I'm guessing. But it's it's a neat little card. It just sits on. With any return, randomly activate one of the following effects. It gives +1/+1 to a random follower, or ally follower, heals you for 1, whilst also increasing your max HP by 1, which can be useful, and puts a random Portalcraft follower from your deck into your hand. And if you have more Evo points than your opponent, you get all 3 instead. So very good going second, because you'll start with an Evo point lead, and then usually maintain it for most of the match. And if you've got Evo point recovery, I think Unnamed Determination is rotating out, though, so we'll have to see if they print more Evo point recovery for Portal. So maybe this card will see play, maybe not entirely sure, but it's a neat little thing. It doesn't have countdown, so it does just stick on your board, and you can have multiple on your board if you want to completely screw yourself out of board space, most likely. There is a box. It's totally not a Hellgate Cube, which is I'm only really thinking about because of fucking lots of people talking about Hellraiser recently. I guess there was a new Hellraiser thing recently, so a lot of people talking about that. And of course, it was in Dead by Daylight. But I'm not a big horror movie person, so I don't know. But I just know that there's like, oh, there's a monster with big pointy points with pins all over their face called Pinhead, and there's like an evil Rubik's Cube. That's all I know about Hellraiser. But yeah, have the cube. Probably won't see play. I don't think, unless you can make a portal deck that consistently sits on really high Evo points to gain all the advantages at once. I don't think it's going to be it's not going to be consistent enough to be worth a slot in your deck or a space on the board, really. Now we're on to neutral cards, and we've got another in the Roman gods selection of Uranus. People are going to make lots of very silly and fun jokes, which is sad because he's a very pretty lad and I like him. So this is an interesting, he's an interesting solid little card of, effectively just a 3/3 for 3 that banishes an enemy follower. That's pretty good. That hits quite a lot of strong. That's got quite a lot of targets in the current meta, like mainly Bellringer Angel, just being able to just going, nope, that's banished. You don't get your card. You don't get your damage shield. She's just gone. And it kind of builds into the old Runecraft archetype that was back when we had Angsty Anangrea, where he likes you having less cards in your deck. If you have 20 less cards, he restores 3 defense and evos, which you can't do normally. You have to use an effect like his own. And evoed, he's a 6/6, which is pretty good. And also, well, on evoed, he deals 3 damage. He deals 3 damage on strike. And if you have 5 cards or less in your deck, he deals 9 damage on strike, which is a lot. That's a lot of damage. So yeah, if they do, you can do a kind of Void archetype, then that can be pretty strong. But you're probably, I think this, given the current cards revealed, they're not really building up to that. So this, like, if you've got a deck that draws a lot of cards and usually goes down to 5 or less, then maybe he's useful. He does, thinking about that now, it's a good counter to Ultimate Bahamut, because of course that knocks you down to 5, knocks your opponent down to 5, and then you play this. You play Uranus, or maybe 2 Uranuses, and bomb them for massive damage in retaliation. So, if you're getting Barhard a lot, then that's probably one thing that he's going to be really good for. But mostly, you'll still be getting the decent value out of just his base fanfare, and then like mid to late game, the 20 cards or less is going to make him just a generally good value card. So I can see him in a lot of decks. A lot of like mid-rangey decks is probably going to run him. Like obviously a bit too not great for like actually still not bad for aggro as well, but probably not as fast as they'd want. They'd probably want something a bit more aggressive. But just a solid neutral, probably a very safe craft, I'd imagine. And then we've got this is another interesting little neutral card. It's a 1 play point 1/2 with fanfare until the end of turn. Subtract 2 from the cost of can subtract 2 from the cost of a card, excluding another copy of itself, and give it the effect that it destroys itself at the end of that card destroys itself at the end of turn if it's in play. So within your hand. and that's it at the end of turn. Like if you just don't use this fanfare, that's fine. But like if you play the reduced card, it's going to destroy itself unless you give it this this ability from its Evo, which makes it immune to destruction effects. So that's just a neat little thing. You can get, obviously it subtracts 2, so it does get you a neutral card out a bit faster. Like not like for Uranus, not great, but there's other like good neutral options. Like there's Bahamut. You can get a Bahamut. You can just play a Bahamut from your hand on turn 8, which is pretty good. That's a board clear. But there might be other there's probably a lot of things. Just like any kind of like good solid neutral follower that's really good to have down early. They have no, they don't. We don't have any more neutral followers revealed so far. So don't know what's coming in this set, but there's probably a lot of good options. I'm thinking that I'm just missing, or just stuff that if you want to have but like you could just turn 1 play this, subtract cost from to make a Guiding Bell Ring or Angel 0 cost, and then just play that, and you get your card. Which is probably not great, but if you're trying to like increase your shadows count because you're playing Shadowcraft for whatever reason, that can be pretty good. But yeah, I think this is the last revealed card, which is a nice little tech card, really. It's a 2-play point card that cycles, and it gives any enemy the effect that they do no damage for the rest until your next turn. Of course, can be applied to both followers and leaders and amulets. So it's any enemy that's targetable. So if you've got an opponent that's doing a lot of damage from leader effects, you can stop that. If you're taking a lot of damage from a particular amulet, you can stop that. Or if they've just got a big beefy follower that's doing a lot of damage, you can stop that. Basically, there's a lot of options that it kind of shuts down for a turn, just to help you survive a bit, and it's also just a 2-play point spell that cycles. So useful in decks that like to have cards that cycle. And then yeah, we're back to the start. So that's all the revealed stuff so far. So it's all the so we're still missing some. I don't know if they do if they do 2 neutral legendaries anymore at all, because I don't think there was. I don't know. Unsure. But yeah, so that's all the all them cards. A lot of weird stuff. A lot of stuff I'm not sure of. A lot of stuff I am pretty sure of. Like you said, I'll go back to like Opulent Strategist, which I think is just a very good versatile card that will probably see a lot of play. And Meltina will be a thing if Spell Boost actually survives. Dragewood will definitely be a thing. I think Masquerade Ghost is probably going to be pretty alright, but that depends if it's better than what Shadow already has as the thing. And we'll see if Wrath gets to live again. And Haven is weird. We'll have to see about Haven. We'll see what Haven does. But like the archetype is kind of goes well with amulet-based Haven, so you can run Skullfane and God of Curses and all that kind of stuff, because that's a lot of crystallizers, that's a lot of amulets that you can reduce with Skullfane. So, and obviously giving Skullfane or God of Curses Storm is pretty good. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if that pans out. Depends what other stuff they have to give you, or stuff, keywords, essentially. Yeah, sorry. Hiccups and sneezes all day today. But, yeah, that be all them cards. So, let's go boot up the actual game and play some Shadowy Craft. Shadowverse, I know. Shadowcraft is the class. That, need to set that, and then boom, there we go. Easy. Pro streamer. And swap things. No problem. Is keep going down. Get our daily logins. Get that stuff. Everyone loves stuff. So yeah, like that's a thing you can hit with neutral. Metatron, maybe not really. You don't really want to. Metatron, you want to Evo. Glasses are someone you have had glasses for a week or so now, I think. Yeah, they're they're made by Rosuri, and you can buy Rosuri, I don't know how you pronounce her name. And yes, you can buy them for like $1 off the Iron Vertex's Ko-Fi page. And yeah, they're like, obviously it doesn't work too great, it's gonna have, because I wrestled with the settings for ages, but it still works a lot better than like normal glasses because they're live 2D enabled, so they at least attempt to turn with the with my head a little, which is better than thank you. Also, they have effects. This one's less noticeable, but it is like applying like a shiny sheen to it. But yeah, I've definitely had them a couple of weeks. I can't remember. I don't know what's time. Yeah, Eric. So, yeah, I think I've still got missions to do, yeah. Do a private match later. But yes, thank you. Another efficient asset from the grand repositories of the internet. But, yeah. I did try... I didn't get into Group A at the finals of the Tacticians Cup, and I didn't win my, I'm glad you noticed the tag. I've put some self-affirming, tags on. I'm very cute. I'm very smart. But, yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, drinking out of this bottle makes my model go really, really weird. Sorry about that. I'll try and not drink it directly into the camera. Maybe that'll work better. Might need to grab some more water in a bit. I'm running out of water. But, so I just want to have another quick look at, stuff that's, like, rotating out. So it is... Renaissance Chronicles. Obviously, Luna's rotating. I suppose a lot of these things aren't really worth checking until we see what other cards, because they might get like bronze and silver replacements rather than just like legendaries. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there's an easy way to have it so that you have to. I think the best way is to have like just a straw so that it covers as little of your face as possible, so this tracking doesn't go nuts. But drinking out of any kind of glass or bottle is not going to work so great. So maybe I need to invest in some like kind of like long, really reusable straws. But yeah, let's just play. I'm just gonna hop into some couple of ranked games because my brain's going like, oh, I need to activity. So let's play something that's absolutely rotating out a bunch. It would be mono, but I don't like playing mono. So let's just play Evo Sword a bit. Warm up with an easy archetype, kind of. Let's see, what are we up against? It's Bloodcraft. almost certainly handless. Handless has been making a bit of a comeback recently. Not great hand for playing against handless because it's all stuff we kind of like have to play. But maybe it'll survive. I'm sure you'll accumulate your own selection of tags and you can go, you don't have to do many tags. As I said, most of my tags are, so definitely handless, but they've not got a great start, so that's good. So as long as one of these things stick, we've got a target for Badab-Katha, which is likely, unless they have like room service demon would really suck it. I guess even if we... God damn it, I shouldn't have said anything. Are they removing Bumpkin Recruit? Not weaken Badab-Katha. They aren't. Ah, that's good. That's ideal. Because it means we can trade off this. Because in this deck there's no real reason to save, especially when we're going first. There's no really reason to save to try and get the Evo points used up. Okay, so they still don't have the... Oh, that's pretty good. We can just drop this. Another to deal with that efficiently. And then we keep our board kind of wide, because they don't really have many good options for dealing with wider boards. But they're not they didn't reach handless by turn 4, which is pretty bad for them, so I think we're doing alright. Like obviously they can hard cast Paracelese, but that doesn't actually and set them up for next turn, but we still have this pretty wide board. And they got a bit of extra pings from their discard options, that was kind of annoying. Okay, so... yeah, I'm just gonna go with Badab-Katha to buff one of these random things and then see what we draw. Do we draw a 2-drop? That's pretty good, but do we want to save that? We don't really... our rally count's pretty low, so I don't think we do want to save it. I think... yeah, we just want to continue to pressure with a wide board. And then I think I'd rather... it depends, I don't know, I think I'd rather keep the 2-2 or keep more attack pressure up. It's either way they're trading in. I don't really have any option. And we just keep the pressure up. So we get another Paracelese. The next time we get our Monochrome Endgame Enhanced, which should help turn things around a bit more. That is pretty scary, that's a lot of damage. That is not... that's fine. Like, that hurts a lot, but... as long as we don't die to some bullshit next turn... and we're rally 10, so we invoke a Core Master next turn, so that should give us enough room to breathe. And now this Steel Luminous is active, so as long as we don't die horribly this turn to some bullshit, which could just be a hard cast room service demon. Okay, it's not a hard cast room service demon. That's fine. Like, Vampy is... Ooh, does that kill us? Like, they only ping once. That does kill us, fuck! Handless blood is so annoying! Yeah. I said I don't know if I can really comment on anything in Shadowverse being complicated or not, because I've just played it so much that everything kind of makes sense to me at this point than playing for so many years. Dossa, hello, Phantom. The J Phantom. Welcome to the stream. Hope you have a lovely time, but yeah, I really don't like Handless Blood. Doesn't feel like I'm playing it against a person. Feel like I'm playing against... It's just a deck that plays itself, I find. Not a fan of it. Not a fan of it at all. What even beats Handless Blood, though? I don't know. I'm just going to play more Evo Sword. My brain's not in... I've done all my thinking on looking at the new cards. I don't want to think... Which means I probably should play Handless Blood myself, but... I just don't wanna. Against Dragoncraft. We don't want to keep any of these. We want more. Yeah, this is much better. Kind of much better. We don't have a 2-drop, which would be good. But we're going second, so hopefully we'll draw one. We've got a lot of them in the deck. Okay, there is a 2-drop. Not the best 2-drop. We kind of want to save them until later, but he's still not a bad one to play on too, because you still get the spell. Man, Gina. This friend be playing Natura. We want to play Takatsuki because we want to have... We'll probably play Frenzied Core Master instead because we kind of want to get our rally out early. It might be worth saving... I don't know. Because yeah, they play the Dejuna, there's Rush. Bonks that. So yeah, probably best to, rather than Adam at this point, is to trade there. And then Frenzy Core Master. Yeah, Natura package, interesting. They're playing the Baja Natura, yeah, that makes sense. Another Dejina. This one hasn't been fused, so it doesn't ramp, no. Very annoying, though. I should rather wish you didn't do that. Okay, that's, yeah, I want to get Rally up as much as I can, really. They're playing a slower deck, so I do kind of want to push more damage. Obviously, that's just the best Evo target. I kind of hope I can get something that gets me to rally 10 next turn. There's only a single fusion on that Great Brothers race, so depending entirely on what they got on it, this could be very scary. Like, banish a random follower, then that's absolutely fine. But also, full on Evo points, so their Evo point recovery isn't great. Just a Jupiter, that's fine. Dueling is slightly annoying, but again, they're not like, it's not like they're healing a bunch from it. But it does deal with my board. Just my hand is really bad for this matchup. Like, actually awful. Nothing... Yeah, my board's gone. I can't really deal with their board at all. I got nothing really to deal with their board, because Erica's not gonna do it. I'm not even at Radley 10, so... I just have to leave that Jupiter there. Also means that's not active. All this sucks so much. You've drawn none of our... Do they get their Great Mother's Embrace off? Yeah, I don't think we're winning this. It's not expecting to see if I can Natura Dragon. I guess it's Baja Dragon. Yeah, my Frenzy Core Master is an active, so it doesn't destroy. Like, this last turn would have been so much better. But we didn't get it last turn, we got it this turn. So we just kind of have to, like, struggle and hope they don't have removal. So I don't think we've got any Core Masters left in the deck, do we? We don't even have any Core Masters left in the deck, so we don't get the Invoke either. Oh, this is really bad! This is such a bad draw. Fucking hell. Okay, but at least they're not doing much this turn. Like, that doesn't mind, as you evidently see, I don't have any invokes, but they do get to clear my board again. Now we are going to need this, yeah, so Frenzied Core Master, which also slows down the Natura a bit. I don't think that, so I'm going to... Do I Evo this, or do I save the Evo for trying to do some kind... I think I do Evo this. Hey, Dragonfrost! I'm just desperate at this point, and I need the healing, and this activates Bud of Cather. Gets me desperate into card draw, but I think I'm just gonna get bar hard. What's there, yep, I am screwed. This exactly doesn't, kill me, and they're not putting a ward into play. So depending on what I draw, I might be in this. I might be in this. Interesting choice to trade when you have Baja invoking, but okay. Like, you do realize you've got Terraphenus. It wipes. Okay. So this is our only way out. We need to draw something that somehow leads into a kill. That does not lead into a kill. But, let's... And Morgana's Gospel hit the wrong thing anyway. Let's just leave. Oh, that would have gone so much differently if I actually had cards to play early. I didn't. I had crap. Just drew the entire wrong side of my deck. No monochrome endgame when we needed it. No. No Musketeer's Vow on turn 5, which is we really needed. Nothing. Nada. You couldn't put any pressure on. At all. Again, this is another. We'll keep, no, we don't want to keep Friends of the Court Master. We want to try and aim for... You're not great. They said hi, so I'll say hi. Mm-hmm. Now we have time to drop Metatron then early when you're going first. Ah, Evo. Okay, that was interesting. Goblin assaulting me. I guess we get rid of that. Keep those. But Eva rune. I guess people just play in decks that are about to rotate out. I mean, technically the decks are about to rotate. I'm losing Erica. And they just fused 2 Tetras to... What? That was a weird choice of fusions. Don't you need those? I'm not got a great choice of options here again. Wolfgang, I'm just going to play Kagametsu and take the 3 probably. Unless they have a third Tetra now. No, it's Yukishima Evo. What? Why? Why are you playing this deck? Okay, that's... We can do this. Can Evo him to get Hero of the Hunt. Hero of the Hunt. Him, we're not really worrying about the rally, we're just worrying about dealing with their board. And then we just do that to recover a little. I guess we might as well use I guess they get the pings off, but yeah. Yukishima in... And you just play in one of your power switch. What are they doing? I'm confused. It's Yukishima, but also with... Okay, we get our Kagametsu back, which is pretty good. Yeah, and then we get to... I think I'll... I'm just going to be very aggressive because we've got 3 Ericas in hand. Mostly care about getting rid of Marie. Anything else is kind of like whatever. We've drawn all 3 Maries, and it's a really buff Marie for some reason. Yeah, not entirely sure how a really buff Marie helps you a lot in... Well, that's pretty good. You just get to bonk that off. You don't draw anything that's better for this situation. Which we did. We drew Victorious Blade, which takes some damage. So it takes 4 damage. But I'm gonna play it anyway. Because now we don't take any damage from these pings. But they have a Jupiter, of course they do. A 911, oh my god, that's an unfortunate number. Am I gonna get bitched out by fucking this incredibly... Like, yeah, the buffs are all landing on the wrong thing. Why is Yukishima in this deck? I guess for these pings? Really weird. I'm getting beaten down by fucking... Okay, what's my Evo? My Evo count is actually garbage, which is unfortunate. So he doesn't even trade off any of these things, so I kind of have to use one of these Ericas a bit awfully. Just I realize I fucked that up, that doesn't let me cast the Frenzied Court Master. I fucked up. If it wasn't for this fucking island, this is one of those weird cases where things are just going really badly for me. Because of complete fucking nonsense. So maybe I'll be alive. Maybe. Maybe this Killer Instincts will save me. Maybe. I didn't ping the Guiding Bell of any Angel. That's important. Oh no, they've got 2 Delta Cannons. I'm dead. Just not gonna let you faff about. You killed me. Yeah, oh. Again, 3 Ericas when I really needed a better board. And I lost a fucking Yukishima Evo. What? One more game with Evo Sword. It's just the main thing that's killing me in these games is just an absolute awful draws on my end. Like, there's so many things I have in my deck that would... Okay, well, we'd probably be playing something sensible. It's going to kill us horribly with a fucking Shadowcraft that isn't losing anything. Again, we don't really want any of these cards. It's entirely wrong half of our deck. Okay, Metatron on going second. That's a lot better. Metatron and Mogget Necrome endgame going second. You don't really have any plays on turn 1 or 2, which kind of sucks. But once we hit turn 4, like we've got turn 3 play, and once we hit turn 4, things start looking up. We just draw a 1 and 2 drop. Now look, ultimate 1 drop. Probably just play this one, it's not worth holding on until it auto-evos, I don't think. Get bodies on the board. No, it's not a sensible Shadow deck, it's GTA! That's not even rotating out, what the fuck is... Why are people playing these weird decks? I don't think I think they're going to lose horribly. I've never seen GTA win. We might hold on to this Frenzied Court Master so we can use it to blow up the ambush GTA that they eventually reanimate. But it's probably not worth it. That's probably just going to get us killed. So yeah, this is the fucking Weird Decks Power Hour, apparently. Everyone's just playing... Yeah, that's fine.
私を求めて書き込む。
Yeah, so could hold the Frenzy Core Master, but we're going to... I think we're going to be playing a lot of commanders, so probably not worth. Just bump the shields off. Like, so the next turn they get to third one, but third one GTA doesn't actually do a whole lot. It's turn 6 they get the Frigate Necromancer that makes a 1/1. You do have tools to deal with. Yeah, that was perfectly whatever. You can make it to 8 play points without spending any more Evo points apart from this Metatron one, then we're going to be in pretty good shape. But they also might be trying to board lock us. Yeah, this is the easy choice because we don't lose anything by playing things. So now the question is, do we actually play anything else? I say we don't. I don't want to board lock myself when I'm about to play a wide board card. So I think playing anything more is going to actually put us in a bit of a bind. So I think it's better to float the play points, keep this for burn later. Because we can just play them alongside Erica's once we hit. What's our rally count's only at 5, so Monochrome's only going to improve us by 3, maybe 4. So we're hitting rally 10 pretty late doing this. But if they leave our board up, then we're just going to beat them down, really. And Ghost Town Apparition doesn't actually stop us because it only stops, it only hits. Getting good value out of this Call of the Great Arms. They are clearing down our board a little. That gives us some space. They are just so I think instead of monochrome endgame in this case, I'm going to just push damage with Musketeer's Vow. I just go for... Also, our rally is at 5. Because monochrome endgame doesn't really do much when the board's full. While Musketeer's Vow, I'm going to deliberately take the... Since we don't expect it to survive, we're going to take Athos and Argathon, which is a not typical pick, but yeah, since we've used it like that, we are going to Evo the storm damage. That's a healthy 5 damage with a ward in play. So they're obviously trying to do something with Ghost Town Apparition. If we get Skeleton Raided here, that's fine. Like, it's not that discounted. But also, I don't think they're running Skeleton Raider in this. They must be if they're running all these Evos, but then why are they running Ghost Town Apparition? Because that's their reanimate target. They're not reanimating. They've just been... Yeah, they're almost certainly dead this turn. With these Erica and Steel Luminous Knights. They are skeleton raging me, am I just dead? Why is GTA in your deck? Fuck's sake! I can't catch a break! I was so confused about what the fuck their deck was doing. Why is Ghost Town Apparition in their deck? It just makes their deck worse! It ruins their reanimate targets! Why is it in the deck? What we got today? I'm getting my face rocked by fucking... I'm gonna play a different deck that wins all... that's supposed to win all the time. What the hell is happening today? Why is Ghost Town Apparition in this deck? Why is it there? Like, by all other intents and purposes, that was a normal-ass Shadowcraft deck. But it had GTA in it for some reason. I need to go check the fucking JCGs. What's happening here? Anyway. It's better to fuse that for now so that we can fuse one now and then we fuse. See, now we're playing a deck that makes sense. We're playing against... We're playing against good old Swordcraft. I don't usually like fusing rallies, but I think it's my best option at this point. Look, they're just Swordcraft making a board. I would really like to draw... That also works. Yes. Or should have done this in the other order. Oh well, I'll just do it in this order. There's Levi! You can see what the board looks like. If they play another like wide collection of cards, obviously Levi's really good there. Yeah, this is a board with which we clear with the Levi. And oh, we drew another one of those, which is always nice to have. But yeah, it's too spicy not to go for the board clear. Let me play one of these just to... We're already at You just need a bit more actual Earth rights. Would be nice to have. So we can get the Superior Contractor online. Not a great turn for them. Fine. Ah, excellent, that is. Yeah, I don't really need. them.
溶かして飲んで食べていいよ。
砕かれるとは。
思いを
やるじゃねえか。
黄色の魔性
So probably monochrome endgame, which is not, you know, great against, but not worst. You just need to kind of clear off the ward more than anything.
あれ映らない。
Yeah, we need to clear off both these wards, which is a bit annoying. What you got for us, Frosty Golem? Not great, but it keeps us alive. Kind of wish I had one more play point so I could blow that up. Yeah, this is not ideal, but we really don't want to leave Queen Chimera alive. So hopefully we're not dead. But we probably are. Just did not draw. We really needed another Levi there. Would have been ideal. Be able to clear off this island. Nope, we are almost certainly very dead if they're playing Erica.
進化を見せろ。長女発見。行くぞ。進化を見せろ。長女発見。行くぞ。進化を見せろ。
Yeah, we're dead. No point letting this play out.
失敗しちゃった。
So that wasn't an insane match. That was just fucking Swordcraft. And us not drawing the card that dealt with Swordcraft. Maybe I should not have used that Riley. Would have been nice to have on that state of the board. No, we needed either another Riley or another Levi. Or another yeah, about this news again.
私の魔力。いや
Okay. I won't keep Levi against Portal. I guess I'm keeping Levi against Portal then. I'll probably try and fuse something. Depends what I draw, really. So it's Puppets of some variety, might still be Resonance. Evil Rabbit. Don't like him. Don't like him at all. Okay, that's a much better start.
試してみよう。
We don't need to fuse anything with Juno in this hand.
ブースタースター
Oh no, it's Artifact!
星の先。
With Craftsman's Pride in it. I guess that makes sense. You can put Craftsman's Pride in pretty much any deck, but I mean, why would you play Artifacts before Artifacts is good? That's just weird. Boss! Because I'm gonna get bodied by fucking... It's okay. It's okay. I can get through this. We'll survive. I am strong and smart and good at card games. I will do... this maneuver, where I play Levi. And then I evolve Levi.
お茶目ですごい魔術師じゃ。
試してみよう。
And then I will play that. And then I will play this.
破損申告。戻るね。
And that was a productive turn.
悲劇の歯車な。
And they're going to do that. And I'm going to use this turn to heal.
美しくとも悲劇は葬る。
甘いきり
トンズラじゃ
What's oh, we haven't actually consumed that many. It's not worth burning this with magical reserves, so I think play a Juno.
決の調合を
We leave the we don't care about leaving the analyzing artifact up, they'll want it killed anyway.
我が敵を撃て
And then we evo the
目
Juno
指して連戦を証明する
to deal with that.
次の戦い
Then we get Guardian Golem. Hey, you're at 6 artifacts already. What is with today? Why am I getting...
ブースタースターゲーザー星の先へ
Why am I getting my ass kicked so hard? What am I doing wrong? Ow! Fuck!
エクシーダいた
Okay, well I kind of have to... I'm just gonna do this.
黄色の魔性
Draw a card and heal. Okay, that's good. That's perfect. That's ideal.
そろそろあなた素敵
破損申告
Then we play another Juno.
決の調合を
So this time we get 2. Oh no, we don't get. We just get 1. But we've got 2 Guardian Golems, and they've got their 3rd Realmir to punch through my board, and I bet they've got the fucking and a Genesis artifact. But that doesn't quite kill me. No, it does. That was also inefficient. You could have used it on the Realmir.
負けちゃったか
Why does God hate me today? Yeah. Am I just too salty because I'm got fucking hay fever blowing out my sinuses? What is happening to me today? Just getting absolute. Just want to win a game on stream. I want to have fun. I'm getting fucking. Yeah.
五色絢爛万家の宝
This is Dragoncraft off, so we'll see what Dragoncraft they're playing. We don't want to keep Long or Ethica going first. We want ramp that we can actually play. This is not ramp we can actually play, though we might still play the Adherent because he's an aggressive card. To be aggressive, okay. Yeah, we'll play an Adherent Nevada on turn 1. And we've got ramp. All is well. Got ramp and a Rowan. Will be missed. I'm tempted to... Oh, that's very good with this card.
うなるなってタコか
Can I deal damage to my own followers? No, I can't. I'm gonna play Rowan and he'll be kicking my face for a little bit. But it gets that set up and it's pressuring a wide board against a dragon deck that probably doesn't have. Yeah, this is paying off pretty well. So you can even make use of Metatron's heal here. Yeah, I'm just gonna go really, really aggressive here. So this curse is going to hit us a fair bit. So I don't like... Okay, Ethica deals with our board, that's fine. Should have realized that, but that's using an Ethica.
それでも俺は
Yeah, probably should have realized I was walking into that a bit. Can I draw some ramp, please, deck? You are not ramp, but you are, I guess, you do technically still count as damage and pressure. So, I'm going to save Phylene for till next turn. Because just cost increasing their cards can probably screw with them a fair bit. We haven't so thanks to our Metatrons, we haven't really lost that much damage from our own... Taken that much damage from our own curses anyway. That's annoying though. Ooh, that's pretty good though. Yeah, I'm just gonna play... I need the card draw, so we play the Ignis Dragon for the free. Okay, that sets us up next turn pretty well. And yeah, this also clears their board. They do heal a decent amount, but then they also take the black damage, the curse damage as well. And we get to set up, they got their own Ignis Dragon. But importantly, their Ignis Dragon does not heal them. That's fine. We will... we've got a few options here. I think getting Galamo's effect active is probably more important. So we do this. This, and then play Masamune to deal with the Ignis Dragon. And then we hit them down to 4. And hope we can pull something out of our ass next turn. Fucking hell, there's always Gillenese. There's always another Gillenese to play. To heal them. That's a lot of healing! And my entire plan goes out the fucking window. So. Yep. I'm tilted. Everywhere I go, I'm just not having a good time. I'm sorry, I think I'm gonna call the stream. I'm actually feeling quite upset now. It's just one more game I'm going to play. We'll play the deck of all time, Flame and Glass Shadow. And if this doesn't win it, I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna say that's enough for today because I'm having a really miserable time dealing with all these losses and also hay fever as my... I wasn't really planning on getting to Grandmaster anyway, I don't really have the time, but definitely not with these games. Am I doing something wrong, or am I just really unlucky? I don't know. Either way, we keep a Skeleton Raider, but we don't keep Krampuses alongside it. Wayfaring Goblin in your opening hand's really good. And 3 Call of the Great Arms, which we might just end up burial roaching the singular Skeleton Raider over and over again. Give me something useful. Okay, that's a lot better. We play Luna. Play the doll. On this, we don't really care about dealing chip damage at this point, and they can have the card. We kind of want to make it slightly easier for. That's actually kind of annoying because we don't have a way for this Luna. We want Luna to. Oh, that's perfect. Krampus. Call it the Great Arm for value. Then we call it the Great Arm for value again. I should have called the Great Arm one of the Lunas actually. Then I'd have 2 Skeleton Raiders. Oh well, I can do that next time. Call it the Great Armor Luna. Rule and I, whatever their highest thing is, start getting that active. A lot of shadows. I think that's an odd choice of Evo, not Evoing the thing with more attack. So we're taking a few hits, but we just have so many Lunas. We just cycle Rule Eyes here. And then we kind of just need to Evo him so that one of our army of Lunas gets actual value. And because we've got 2 Skeleton Raiders in hand. If they Musketeer's Vow, that's fine. We've got Lunar Evo to deal with that. Katsumi's also fine. Basically, we want to just keep accumulating Evos, get our Skeleton Raiders nice and cheap, and then wait for them to slip up and make a wide board, and then just blow them up. Yeah, we need to play that so that we have room for the spell. This is getting a bit awkward with hand size, but yeah, I'll do it this way. And then probably I do need to make room in my hand though, so I probably do need to play this Lure of Shadows rather than hold it. As I said, we've got plenty of lures, so. And then Krampus because it's a net swing of 0 cards. So they'll probably want a monochrome endgame here, which helps, which is fine for us because we can just do spicy things with Luna, and we can just go Luna into Skeleton Raider, and then do a second Skeleton Raider on whatever board they put out on turn 7. This Victorious Blade doesn't scare us because Skeleton Raider just blows it up. They don't monochrome endgame. We've got nope, they're just trying to kill us with Ericas. Understandable. They're trying not to put out a particularly big board, but that's fine. We can just off. We've got Killer Instincts doesn't scare us. We've got all the Lunas to sacrifice to it. Or we can just throw Rule and Eye into it. Like, Taketsumi is the kind of scary thing because obviously as long as they've got a Hero of the Hunt to play, they can, as long as we leave a target for the Hero of the Hunt, they can make themselves damage immune. So we're not taking a lot of damage, which sucks. And obviously, Skeleton Knight isn't actually particularly useful here. But we get our Susie Invoke, which is very important. We've got 3 Skeleton Raiders, so I think what we do is we play a Luna to recover an Evo point and eat the Killer Instinct. And I think we do Rule and Eye things to deal with the rest of the board, really. And hope we're not dead next turn. And then I'm going to do this thing, which does overdraw us a bit, but we've got everything we need in hand really to kill them next turn. So as long as we're not dead. So yeah, this really just depends on us not dying this turn. I think we're dead this turn. We've probably got another Erica in hand. There it is. I'm not bothering to wait to find out if they actually have killed. They almost certainly do. Even when things look like they're going so well. Yeah, no, I'm depressed now, I'm actually. Right, who the hell's online? Let's see if there's anyone online who can cheer me up. Who's the raid? Who's... Nina's online, but is Nina actually awake, is the question. Because a song from Nina would be lovely right now, but is she awake? She is awake, excellent. I'm gonna raid Nina. She'll sing for us, and it'll make me feel all better. Gonna put the end schedule up. Thanks for coming, everyone. So a good start with us having a nice discussion about the cards, which is actually getting to the game was just miserable. Yeah, thanks for coming. And yeah, I think I'm just unwell.
Like Daddy Kane.
Ooh,
Welcome,
that's
Daddy.